thank you for tuning into this week's video. My name's Ruth, and if you're new to my channel, it's great to have you here. Thank you for stopping by, and you can subscribe if you like the videos, and you can press the little bell, and then you'll know every week when I post a new video, which is every Tuesday. Alright, so in this video I want to talk about resilience and something that I also like to call bounce back ability. So resilience really means the idea that when things get difficult in our lives, whether that's through sort of things that we are internally perceiving might happen through anxiety, or stuff that's actually happening to us in real time in the real world, then it's about how quickly we can respond and bounce back from that and really cope with what's going on around us. And one thing that I found when building up my own resiliency is that it's really something where you notice if it's something that you really didn't build up as a child. That's what I've personally found, is that, a lot of people who've had, good experiences where they've been well supported and, had those like mentors and those people to model from, tend to, in my experience, have much better resiliency around certain things. Whereas if you've had some really negative experiences, particularly in childhood, whether that's at home or at school or with friends, then it can often affect our resiliency and our ability to bounce back from stuff. So today I want to focus on 3 key tips that I found have really, really helped me and may really, really will help you if you are looking to improve your resiliency in life. So first off, I want to talk to you about a nice analogy for resiliency. So the way I see it is that we have like a bank balance of resiliency. And if you've had really good experiences in your formative years up until now, then you may have like a really well-stocked bank balance. And if your experiences have maybe been, a little bit more traumatic and not quite as good, then you might have a lower bank balance when it comes to your resiliency. And every time we take knocks or we get really anxious about something, then our resiliency bank balance takes a hit. And the idea of like how quickly we can bounce back is basically how we can kind of replenish that bank balance. So I hope that kind of like helped and made sense. It's a nice way for us to look at it. So let's dive into the first one. So the first tip that I want to give you is really around community and building up that support group that you feel like you are able to talk to, you're able to share with, and really just to look at that as something that could be really small. Like, I remember Brené Brown saying, even if you've got one person in your whole life, like, I think sometimes we have this idea that we've got to have like 20 friends that we can confide in, and actually all we really need is at least one person. And her daughter, Brené Brown's daughter, called these like marble jar friends, which I kind of liked because there was a whole story behind why they were called marble jar friends, but friends that really know, like, they've got your back, and you could just call them up and talk to them about how you're feeling and what you're going through, and you're there for them and they're there for you. And it could be friends, it could be family, it could be someone on like an internet group that you're in, or just that one or more people, if you're lucky, that you really feel can support you when things do go wrong. And that's really also really important in that kind of like idea of feeling like we've got value and we're worthwhile as people. And I think sometimes when something difficult happens, or we're going through some really anxious thoughts and experiencing mental difficulties, if we don't have anyone to bounce that off with, then we can kind of feel like we're going nuts. Well, I personally can feel like I'm going nuts. And then once I share that with somebody, and it's someone like I really respect and trust, who's not gonna just kind of like make it all about them or kind of take pity on me, but they're going to really empathize and walk alongside me during that experience. And then that also gives me that feeling that, like, it gives me a focus, and I feel like my life is worthwhile and I've got that connection, that feeling of community. So that really helps to build resiliency and confidence that there is nothing wrong with you. You know, you are perfect as you are, and that, you know, we can often think, oh, if I share that with someone, they won't like me anymore, and if I take off this mask or this thing that I'm hiding, then people are going to think I'm weak, or they're not going to want to be around me. And most often, if you open up and share with someone and you come into community with people, you'll find that you being brave and sharing your struggles helps other people to step into their own power and share their difficulties. So it's really powerful. So first tip is community. And also as well, like, if you really are very isolated and you don't have that one person, then doing your best to, like, join some sort of groups where you can be around other people, even if that's like some sort of classes at the gym, or you join like a book club or something that you like doing, a running club, something where you can start to really, like, build those relationships if they're not there already, can be really helpful in that. Like I say, it's really good at building resiliency. So number 2 is something that I really like to do, but I do sometimes find it difficult, is journaling. So much like sharing it with a person, if you find it too hard to share with a person, or you want to do this as well and have your own kind of like internal dialogue, then you can get a pen and write down, or type it if you prefer to do that. There's something powerful in writing things down though. There is research on that, about like pen on paper and the physical act of writing. I'll try and find a link and I'll put it below. So journaling about how you're feeling, and this can take on many forms. So one of the things that I like to do is to, in moments of panic or difficult days or difficult weeks or months or years, is to constantly remind myself of the fact that I'm grounded, I'm breathing, I have managed to do a certain amount of things in the day, even if that's just I made the bed, I got a shower, I saw a bird in the garden and that made me smile. So it can be really, really small things, or I really enjoyed drinking that cup of tea this morning. So it doesn't have to be big things, but really focusing on 3 things a day that you feel grateful for, that you can find gratitude in, and reasons to stay alive and reasons to be alive and find joy in the world. So a 3-point gratitude list can be good, done in the evening or done in the morning or done both, whenever you like to do it. And then there is another thing that I really like to do, which I'm gonna show you in step 3. I'm not going to show you that now, I'm going to show you that, I'm going to save that for step 3. And journaling can also take on lists. So you could do a list of everything that you're finding really difficult at the moment, and then I like to do this, and then on the right hand column, write something that's within your power and within your resiliency bank balance to take even a baby step forward in dealing with that. And there may be some things on that list that you cannot solve. It could be pain in the body that you cannot get rid of, or it could be something that is just not solvable from you taking control. But you may be able to find something. So say, for example, just doing this off the top of my head now, you have pain in the body. There may be some sort of practice that doesn't take the pain away but helps you. So that may be like a body scan meditation. John Kabat-Zinn has some great ones of those. or it could be to take an Epsom salt bath, or it might be to prioritize your sleep because you know that that helps with the pain. So there are things that you can do even if we can't get rid of the issue. So like focusing on the issues on the left hand side, and then what's in your control to help you with that, and maybe some self-care things that you could include on the right hand side. And then finally, number 3, which is one of the most powerful ways that we can take control of what's going on around us, is to really act like that friend. So point number 1, that friend, that person, being that person for ourselves and having some tools that we can use to kind of like get ourselves out of our heads and get some perspective. So I want to share with you, which I'm just going to grab, is what we sometimes call in like CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, or counselling, Socratic questions. And these are really good for situations and also for anxious thoughts or NATs, negative automatic thoughts, which come up, and they can like come so fast that it can be difficult to catch them. But I carry the Socratic questions around with me in my bag so that if I'm ever caught out in a situation, I've got them with me. So first of all, we look at the event, the situation, or the thought that we need to question. So we look at that first and we write it out, or we say it in our minds, whatever you want to do. And it's like, what is the evidence for this? So we're looking now at the cold, hard evidence of what's going on. So, you know, the facts, basically what's for it, what's against it, what's going on. So we're looking at evidence. Think like you're a detective. And third one is, am I basing this thought on facts or on feelings? So you've looked at the evidence and now you're like, how much is my kind of interpretation and my feelings playing a part in this? So it can work for thoughts, or it can work for like actual situations as well. Look at your own feelings. This can be the tough part because it's not always easy to accept that we can actually be contributing quite a lot to the negative aspect of the situation. So look at your feelings and how they might be interacting, and you may find at this point that a lot of it's feeling and less fact, which can actually be quite revelationary and interesting. And then next, is the thought black or white when reality is more complicated? So are you making this situation very matter of fact and black or white, all or nothing? And are you really looking at the nuances of the situation? So the complexities and the other people that are involved, and the kind of the different shades of grey. Sorry to, that's a great term though. The different shades that go on. Most things are not black and white. So looking at the shades of grey. And could I be misinterpreting the evidence? Am I making any assumptions? So that's a really good one. So what kind of assumptions are you making? And, what are you bringing into the situation that may not be part of the evidence and the facts? Might other people have a different interpretation of the same situation? So you can either ask someone or you can just hypothesize that. And that can be a helpful one. Are you looking at all the evidence or just what supports what you want to see in the situation? Are you exaggerating anything in there? Do you have this pattern a lot? Like, are you coming up and butting up against these same things again and again and again? Again, a hard one to be honest with yourself on that one. Is it yours? Did someone pass this to you? Is it yours to deal with? That's an interesting one. And if they did, are they a reliable source? And then finally, is my thought likely or is it a worst case? So if you're in a situation or you're having some thoughts, are you automatically going to the absolute worst case scenario? And if you are going to the worst case scenario, are you also at least considering the best case scenario, or somewhere in the middle, which may be the most likely scenario? So those Socratic questions can really help you to get some perspective on what's going on, and they can be really helpful. So I'm going to put those in the notes below as a list, just a brief list. And if you want, you can copy and paste them and use them, put them in your handbag like I do, they may help. So those top 3 tips we've got are all about building your community, having those reliable people that you can bounce stuff off and can help you with your resiliency. Number 2, journaling, and how you can use lists and gratitude to help you in your resiliency of overcoming difficulties. And number 3 is looking at the facts versus the feelings, and really using some of those Socratic questions to help you to gain some perspective on that. So really all 3 tools are about allowing you to gain perspective, take a step back, and hopefully replenish that resiliency bank balance much faster. So it might not take you a year or 6 months. It may only take you a month or a week or a couple of minutes, depending on the kind of like the vastness of the situation. So I hope that's helped. If you've got any tips on resiliency for me, that would be amazing. We can add to these top 3, comment below, connect with me on Instagram, and thank you so much for watching the video. If you like it, you can subscribe, press the little bell, and then you'll know when I post another video. And I am hopefully going to do you the next video, as long as everything goes to plan, from the island of Ibiza, because I'm going on holiday. So yes, have a wonderful time, whatever you're doing the next week, and I will hopefully have a wonderful time, and I'll be back next week with another video. All right, thank you, bye.